Cash. We just had the best, most productive day ever. Welcome back to CarPool Cash. I am driving home from my VIP day, using my time very wisely, if I do say so myself. Today we worked on Black Friday deals in our VIP day with one of our top clients. What else did we do? We talked advertising, so I showed her how to run ads. We made a newsletter sign up. It was like brainstorming mixed with like productivity. We brainstormed a bunch of social media posts, ideas. Every single VIP day that I have with businesses and people. People are businesses. Businesses are people. But every single one is so different, and that's kind of fun. So it was a very, very productive day, and I'm excited to drive home to my family and talk to you. So we talked about the driving force, that one thing that is going to help you really stay motivated, right? Taking your kids to Disney World, leaving the day job. The rule that I asked for you to follow, it's two parts. Number one is it's under a year that you can make it happen. It still may feel stretchy, but it's under a year and it's one thing. You can have multiple other things, but it's the number one thing that you're like, oh my gosh, this would be life-changing. This would feel so good. This would literally transform everything. You want it so bad. And the reason why this is so important is there's going to be days where you want to give up. But when you imagine your kids and taking them to Disney World and how good that's going to feel, it helps you push through those moments of doubt. It helps you push through the fear, and not even push. It just helps you get through it and do it with more ease, flow, and fun rather than suck it up, buttercup. It is what it is. You have to do it. I don't love that vibe. It should be enjoyable. It should feel good. It should feel sexy. It doesn't mean that there's not work involved, but what if the work could be so much more enjoyable, so much more pleasurable? Wouldn't that be worth it? So before I share our focus in this episode of the series, I want to give a shout out to Rebecca with Authors Allies. She's helping authors to get out there, market their book, and help sell more books. So make sure you connect with Rebecca with Authors Allies. If you have not written your book yet, she still does have tools and resources, and it's still good to understand what you're going to need to do coming from somebody that has written a book. There's a lot of steps, and so having someone like Rebecca can be so beneficial, so helpful. So shout out to Rebecca. Thank you for helping sponsor this episode and the series. And I know so many people are going to keep tuning in, so yay, so good. All right, so this focus of this episode is a big one, a very, very big one. The trend that I see with so many humans is they've got the driving force, and then they're like a chicken running around with their head cut off. They are doing so many things. They're like, oh my gosh, I'll start a t-shirt business. I'll open up a restaurant. I'll, start a blog. I'll start a podcast. We're starting so many things, and they all are beneficial. They're all amazing. And equally, there's only so much time and energy to go around. So if you work with me, or when you work with me, you'll always hear me say, what's your number one outcome goal? Which is a lot tied to the thing that I asked you in the last episode, because we've got to make sure we're setting you up for success from the very beginning, and then we keep setting you up for success as we go. Because if your goal is to take your kids to Disney World, let's say, just for easy math, you're going to need 10 grand. I just passed a car that said bougie. So Disney, coming from somebody that just went to Disney, Disney is Disney, right? Let's just do 10 grand because we all know you can drop 10 grand pretty easily at Disney. From the flights to the hotel to the shopping, the clothes, the food, it can go fast, right? So if your goal was Disney for 10 grand and that's not something you already have budgeted in, which means we're going to have to source some cash, right? This is CarPool Cash. Then we really want to think about what is the easiest way to make that happen, and what amount of time do you have to make it happen? Meaning, not just you want to take your kids, for, Christmas next year type of thing, but on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, how much time and energy do you have available? Because every goal and every time budget is going to be different, and therefore your way that you're going to make money is going to be different. And we need to, literally, it's not even a get, we have to make sure that it's all set up from the beginning with you in mind, with the end goal in mind. If you have 5 hours a week versus 1 hour a week, it's different. If your goal is $1 million versus $10,000, it's different, right? And so we've really got to make sure it feels aligned from the very beginning, and it feels doable from the very beginning. Your brain wants it to feel doable. Your brain wants it to feel easy. Doesn't mean that there's not going to be energy and effort involved, but we've really got to make sure that it feels as easy as possible, as doable as possible. And that will help it happen so much, truly so much. So what I need from you in this episode of CarPool Cash is I need you to understand how many hours per week do you have based on this goal, okay? So how many hours do you have? And then really understanding what is the easiest way that we can make that happen, okay? Now, if you don't know, okay, depending on how many years you've been in business, or you're like, Nellie, I have no business, right? That's okay. We can make anything happen. At one point, I didn't have a business. At one point, every business that you see wasn't a business. So don't let that stop you, okay? So we can talk solutions in the next episode. But for now, I want you to put your thinking cap on of how many hours do you truly have? And don't just say whatever it takes. Get really, really honest, really, really clear with yourself based on your current lifestyle. Now, if you can cut some things out, fantastic. But give me an average of how many hours that you have available per week. If it's 5 hours, if it's 10 hours, if it's 20 hours, it makes a huge difference, so we can understand and leverage that time to help this goal happen, okay? So that's what I need from you right now. If you already have a how in mind, you can start to think about that. If not, I'm going to break that down for you in the next episode, because it's a lot. It's a lot. But if you have ideas in mind that you're like, oh my gosh, if I got 2 new clients, it would literally pay for Disney, then we go find 2 new clients. That's the cool part about this. And I don't want you to get hung up in all the stress and chaos of trying to figure out taxes and expenses. This is more so just an energetic brainstorm, and then we can figure out that stuff later. But I just really want you starting to get into the mindset of, how can we make this happen, not only from a time perspective, but then actually from a money making perspective. So I have lots of ideas for you, which we'll go over in the next episode.